Hello and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to this stream where we will talk about clarity and chaos, but not in that sense, like it will be fun. So we are live I'm in Kobo, Iceland, and my guest is in Birmingham, I think. So, but let's go through the International Week of Happiness at Work is right now from the 6th to the 10th, and tomorrow is the World Mental Health Day. So, but why is it important to focus on happiness at work? Because we spend a large part of our lives at work, and this has a significant impact on the rest of our lives. Therefore, by this, paying more attention to happiness at work can make a difference. And by declaring the last week of September, because the ladies who started this initiative in 2018, they decided to have it in the last week of September, changed it now because they wanted to have it around a conference in Prague. But that, I don't know what happened, but in the meantime, I got the charge. I am in charge of the International Week of Happiness at Work. And to say that next year it will always be in the last week of September. So we will focus on happiness at work. And this is important. Our subject today is important because my guest is Oleg Konovalov, and he has written some good books in my mind. The Vision Code, the book how nature can teach us stuff in leadership and stuff. But his newest book is Beyond Chaos, how to create clarity when everything falls apart. And I am in the midst of reading that book, and I'm a slow reader. Welcome, Dr. Oleg Konovalov, my brother from another mother.
Good morning to you. Bless Sador.
Yo, bless Sadr. Okay, background story. This man has been to Iceland, and we did not know it when we met in...
Many times.
Yes, many times. And you were here because on behalf of the... Like, we are talking about really old times. Back in the Soviet Union days.
And a bit later, because it's a great excuse. Iceland is beautiful, and you have amazing salmon fishing, and your girls are the most beautiful girls in the world. And so there are numerous reasons to visit Iceland.
Yeah. Yes.
Of course.
I hope your wife is not listening to this, but
no. She's busy now with others.
But Oleg, why do you have this connection to Iceland? Like, but the book, the Fisherman book, somehow the title is just like bing. I only remember Fisherman. Yes. What is the name of the book?
You see, first of all, I worked for many years as a senior executive for Icelandic British Fishing Company. And so it was like daily connection, working relationships. And, like when you work with people very closely, you becoming not just partners, you becoming friends. So you share your bread, you share your stories, and you're getting very close to each other. And another thing, I was fishing. I went quite a few times to Iceland for salmon fishing. And it's up north, it's two rivers, Svarta and Blanda, and that's phenomenal. And I've been to Iceland quite a good number of times at different seasons. So it's amazing.
Mm.
And I lived in Arctic half of my life myself. And therefore, when I went to Iceland for the first time, like, oh, I'm at home.
Yes. But how is it? Because you like the vision code that was about having a vision and go through life with like if you don't have a vision, then you are just there. And then you wrote the book, the Fisherman book, how nature can teach you some leadership qualities. And one of the stories in the book was when you were on the fishing trawler, when you thought literally that you were going to die, and you wanted the captain to like call 911, 111 or whatever. And the captain said, no, no, relax. Like I have done this
Yeah.
many times before. So and that was interesting take on how you have to bring the calmness into leadership, and whereas you are mentioning when you are salmon fishing.
Yes, it's not about physical strength. Leadership is not about being strongest in the room. You are not a silver back ape, just leading the tribe of monkeys. It's about mental capacity.
Uh,
And I'm always saying that you need to be calm, right? Whatever happens, you don't need to be a Mr. Panic, because if you're in panic in all those worries, your thoughts wouldn't meet with solutions. So they will be just all over, but not to that leadership moment when you're saying, hey, we'll go there or we'll do this. And that's quite critical. But that journey was fairly strange because you see, vision is a
uh,
pinnacle of leadership. It's very, very top. Nothing greater than this. That's it. It's very top. Elite. And then I was thinking, what gets difficult? Because when you're creating vision, the most difficult part, it's a very beginning, clarity of creation. What do you create? And then I was thinking, okay, clarity. What do we know about clarity in leadership terms? No, nothing. Because we just talk. You need clarity. It's like I would tell you, Hedin, you need clarity. What's that?
uh,
Can I touch
uh,
it? Can I measure it? Can
uh,
I understand and what's behind this? And it came up to me that actually not many leaders have clarity. But clarity is a huge leadership resource or even personal resource, because if I have clarity for my family, I will share it with my wife and we know what to do.
uh,
If I don't have clarity, we're both in panic. The same in businesses. And what's wrong? And I was digging further. Because our mind is often in chaos. We have that chaotic thinking. And something shocking came up that I found. It's difficult, of course, to say, to come up with exact data, but more than 76% of today's leaders have chaos in their minds. So they share chaos with others instead of sharing clarity. And if we talk about happiness, it's a moment of peace in your mind when you relax. Yes, everything is beautiful. Calm down. And therefore, if you have chaos in your mind, you wouldn't be happy. You wouldn't be productive. You wouldn't be supportive to others. You will be just like messing around and producing even more mess and creating even more chaos. And therefore, it's came up as a reverse engineering from very top to that mass product, because it's related to our personal lives, it's related to businesses, it's related to everything that we do, actually. It's related to mental health. Because what is it, mental health? It's an ability to process your thoughts or mental models, because they're changing so often or so frequently that you're even not in command of them. And that's a bit of a serious issue these days. If you want to help people to be happy or satisfied, you need to give them a bit of clarity.
That was the short version.
The shorter version can be said in that way. How much chaos in your thinking cost you every day?
Yeah.
And you
So
prepare to pay a price or get the clarity.
yeah, but the thinking about the book about the like the fishermen and your experience in working on trawlers and salmon fishing and how you have to be calm and
Yeah.
everything and you mentioned stories where well normal person would just like sorry for my saying pardon my French shit in the pants because
It's
they
normal.
like because the ocean is just for me it's terrifying. I think in a former life I probably I was a fisherman and then I drowned or something because I like the fire today. So I'm like, but but it is like when you were writing the fisherman's book, like your experience in working in trawlers and all those situations where like the ocean was just like you were ready to like the story which I
Yeah.
mentioned before that you were just like, oh my, I think
Yes.
we will go under.
Look, when you're facing a storm, right?
Yeah,
You must be to go through it. You must be stronger than this storm. You're not a
yeah,
victim of that storm, and therefore, you see, I was trying to explain. I have a little son. He's almost 9, but he's doing very well in Shotokan karate, and he goes through the belts and now preparing for his grading for the brown belt, which is the next. The next level would be a black belt. And
yeah,
I just was explaining. Okay, let's think. Every belt that you've been through and you want to gain as well. What kind of picture you will have if we talk about fish? So white belt is a jellyfish, and then it comes like a small fish, like orange belt and yellow and red belt and green. So then it comes a little fish and a bit bigger with one tooth, with another tooth. So he's now got a purple belt, which is like a dolphin, and then you're getting into brown belt. Aha, it's already a little shark, right? And when you get into a black belt, it's already a shark with 3 rows of teeth, just like so. It's always evolution. The same in life. If you're progressing through those things, it's all about where you are and how you prepare, and where do you want to be and how you prepare yourself. It's
yeah,
you see, but if we talk about chaos, chaos is a norm. It's always been a norm for everyone. Imagine old days Vikings end up in Iceland. It was a total chaos for them. Nowhere to live, just like untapped or unexplored land, and it was chaos. And they're far away from the mainland and so forth. So every generation lived through those things. But
yeah,
clarity is always an achievement. You always must create it regardless of situation. You must be stronger than chaos when you have clarity. If you don't have clarity, you're a victim of chaos.
yeah. Are you okay? So I froze there a little bit, I think. Fatima, she says that you had a great insight in like chaos in the mind get outsourced to the environment, impacting team's alignment and direction. Great insight, Oleg.
Yes. And actually, Fatima, she's a brilliant, and she's in this book, right? And I'm grateful because we had a great conversation with Fatima about a phenomenon of social stigma, specifically for young generation leaders or people, because these days you must follow every noise, every trend, and it adds more and more chaos, right? But what we have, or what we digest, what we consume, we produce. So we have chaos in mind, we produce chaos, which impacts others. It impacts our family, it impacts our friends, it impacts our children, it impacts the next generation. We are complaining about the young generation, but hold on. Who impacted them? Parents. Because parents were nagging at their children saying, you must do this and this and this and this and this. And now these young people, they are lost.
Hmm.
So we are, in most cases, humans.
So when, because so now because our topic is leading beyond chaos, and
Exactly.
and we the title, like the undertitle is the art of seeing when everyone else is dazzled by noise, and as you mentioned, like the parents, like we are always doing our best for the children, and but we maybe create more chaos and noise in their heads because they don't know where to go and what to do and stuff, and when if you look back, did you find, like, when you compare times, because you have been you have lived some interesting times, because you, as I mentioned, you were from the Soviet Union, like where you had to go to certain extents to get out of the country, yada yada yada. But how did you experience, if you think, when you were writing this book, looking back, were there were the noise as much as it is today, or like how do you compare,
No, 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 no.
or don't
We,
you compare?
I am lucky. I lived at the times when noise, we were looking for noise because it was very quiet comparing to the present time. And it's very different because noise, we becoming addicted to it. We can't process all the noise that we are actually, or reactions from that external noise that we are facing. And noise these days, it clouds our thinking in a big way. We don't have even time to speak to ourselves because we're responding to that noise all the time.
Yeah.
And it causes a conflict within our minds. And that is a big thing. And therefore, when you're creating clarity, it's a framework called Passat, and the first element is pause. Pause for intentional silence. And it's appeared to be a huge difficulty for many people just to have those moments of silence, like 10, 15 minutes without gadgets, without, consuming noise. Just talk to yourself. Just be yourself, because it's critical. You see, noise bends reality. We can't understand the reality because of this noise. And that is a big difference. Another issue is we're facing a huge amount of changes. And like over the last few years, the number of changes has grown by about 200%. If before we were talking about very minor changes, today everything is changing.
Uh,
And it creates more noise, more turbulence. And therefore, we're just trying to grab or react to every signal, and therefore we're losing ourselves in in that mess. Therefore, how we could find the solution in that mess? No chance. Solutions are always beyond chaos. They are always beyond there.
so Adil, I hope I say his name right. Adil, he said, "Know thyself, no remedy else."
Yes, it's also a critical element. It's not a full answer. It's only a part element because our authenticity is critical. It's not about knowing yourself, it's about being true to yourself. When we're facing chaos, we're wearing masks, and we pretend to be someone who we are not. Like, you okay? Yes, I'm okay. Okay, so you think, no, I'm not okay now, or I'm good now, depending on the situation.
Uh,
You're building from you're building clarity from being who you are and who you wish to be, instead of wearing a mask and still cheating on yourself. So deal is not know yourself, because you see, chaos is a cheater. It's cheating you. It's faking everything, and therefore you just like pretending that something is good or not good, depending. You know
uh,
who you are. Who you are. It's all about this.
but okay, of course, young people today, they are maybe more thinking about uh, the social media and how they think that they are supposed to be instead of going inside. Are we afraid to know ourselves?
Yeah, because the journey to yourself is tough.
Yeah.
We are not prepared to listen to the truth. We are playing the game of pretenders. That's what we discussed with Ambreen, the lady that asked this question before. And because she does a brilliant job on psychological aspects of different issues. Young people, they're less mature, therefore they're playing the game of pretenders. Oh, I need to know everything. I need to be very fashionable. Oh, I need to know about every trend. They don't understand that it's only increases the amount of useless information that they consume, right? It wouldn't have any value for their lives, but with the increase of amount of information, their attention span goes very down, and therefore they're facing a huge gap where they're bouncing in between and they can't produce it. And that's a very difficult part. That's a very exhausting.
Oh yeah.
You can't. It's impossible to know every trend. It's impossible to follow everything, and that's very difficult.
Yeah. Because I have the book in hand. I
Oh,
bought it
oh,
because yes,
yes,
yes, you also. But and in chapter 2, you talk about the pandemic of chaos addiction, and you
uh,
mentioned it's Dr. Anna. You mentioned, and she
yes.
talks about drama addiction. Uh, are we like? Why is it that we strive towards chaos? Why don't we avoid chaos? Like, what is it in the human
That's
element?
that's
That,
a, that's a that's a phenomenal situation we're facing in the 21st century. Through the history, people were trying to avoid chaos. Today, we're getting chaos addicted, right? And drama addiction, because people want to have adrenaline, they want to have some kind of a stuff. So, more or less, they're surrendering to those negative emotions. And even I would tell you something. I looked at the list. What are the most popular and least popular genres in movies? And drama is one of the top on this. People and horror movies. People love those things. And because I have been
not
through
me.
tough situation in my life, and I'm thinking, do I need more adrenaline? No, no, no. I'm thinking I'm fine. I have enough. Just like I need a bit of calmness. But many people they're just addicted to it. The problem is they don't know how good is to be with clarity. they're so comfortable, they're so used to live in that mess and turmoil, so they're even not realizing how it is much better to be there beyond chaos in with clarity. They're even not thinking about this.
So a question from a LinkedIn user. I think I know who it is, but I can't see it. What do you suggest people to do these days to get out of the chaos? I know that like we have like 34 minutes left of our conversation, and I know that I'm afraid that if I press that play button, you will talk for several hours about this. But do we answer this
No,
question?
I need breaks.
Yeah. Oh, because you're an old fart.
Yes, yeah, exactly, exactly. You see,
But should we? Do we want to like? Is this a question that can be answered now, or should we take it like? Should we eat the elephant in
hold
many bites?
okay. First, if you want to outfight chaos, name it. What kind of chaos do you have? Because chaos has three stages, or multipliers, or amplifiers, whatever you want to call them. Noise, and then you're facing fears, and then you're facing uncertainty. So, to what extent? And on my website, I have chaos impact form or chaos and thinking score. It's you. Someone could download it and figure out okay to what extent and how. So to name that chaos. When you know what kind of a monster you're fighting, you need to create clarity, and that's a model. Pause for intentional silence, see the abundance of opportunities, structure your thoughts, get things simple, be yourself, so authentic, right? And then think forward. So it's fairly straightforward model or framework, which was field tested with businesses. It was field tested by clinical practitioners when they were helping with mental health issues for different patients. It's all about being in control of yourself and mastering yourself instead of being a victim and trying to eradicate every inconsistency caused. It's all about being consistent because think for a moment, no one could control inconsistency. We could control consistency. And if you are consistent in your clarity creation, getting out of chaos, you could control it and you could maintain it. Be consistent of getting out of it.
So underneath our picture we have chapter. It's part two, and the chapter three is about intrusive noise,
Yeah.
where you go through the noises in the world or in our
Yeah.
heads and whatnot. And then chapter four is about the sticky fear.
Yeah.
Why? And that is something that must be learned because you, of course, you have the flight and fight response, but it is commonly said that our ability for fight and flight is like we are getting down, like because we are not the hunters as we were
No.
in the beginning of time. And
No.
then we have chapter five, which is uncertainty. So these, like when you figure out the noise in your head, what is noise, and what is my noise?
What noise you allow into your mind,
Yeah,
and what
yeah,
and do you produce that noise yourself? Because
yeah.
it's not just you a consumer, you also a producer of noise. And when people think, "Oh yeah, I'm not listening," but when I listen to these people, they're producing a lot of noise themselves. They're just like transponders. You better figure out what you are not taking and what you are not talking. Don't produce that noise. Don't be that transporter yourself.
But Oleg, if we think about the noise today and the people who are shouting the loudest. They say the things over and over, and they repeat
Are we
things.
talking about politicians?
People. Well, yes, because this. Okay, if no, yes, and no, because you can take it and put it everywhere. Because if I say I have a great set of hair on my head, and if I repeat it enough, people will start believing it. It was a lousy, I know, it was not a
Uh,
great example.
I love this example. My shiny friend, I love it, right?
No, but when we are bombarded with this like same things,
And now,
and
think for a moment,
yeah,
why people producing a lot of noise? Because if you're producing value, you're simply sharing, hey, I have this value, you're not making that noise. But when people have nothing to share, when people have no responsibility, they produce noise.
which then becomes fear.
It's noise is a vehicle for delivering your fears into your mind.
Yeah,
Because fear comes with the noise. It's like a vehicle, right? It gets into your mind and it paralyzes you. It makes you ticky, to every situation. Oh, what would happen? Oh, that happened. Just like, as you rightly said. Yeah, it's about shitting into the pants. But think of the guys I interviewed for this book. For this book, brilliant guys from military background, been on in deadly situations in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in different parts of the world. In military, there is a very interesting approach. You can't hire someone for a general position or position of a general without military experience. And therefore, this guy washed his pants quite a few times, facing real fear, but he was out of it. Where just like in normal business, you could hire someone just like through job placement adverts and things like that. Fear is something that call it self-protection mechanism. It's normal, but how to outfight it, and not how to make it grow exponentially in your mind. You just simply evaluate what you know, what you could do, what to avoid. That's, you see, clarity and chaos. Chaos sits within our minds some kind of comfortably, almost naturally. But when we're creating clarity, it must be counterintuitive, counter emotional. Chaos pushes you forward. You think, stop, I need to pause. It's counterintuitive, counter emotional. You're saying, nothing is possible. Calm down. It is always an opportunity within that pattern of chaos. There are always gaps. It messes with your thinking, and you say, no, 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 no. My response would be structured thinking. One, two, three. And it's like making things very complicated. You can't beat complication by overcomplicating it. Therefore, you're saying, no, it must be simple, very simple. So it's counterintuitive, counter emotional. It puts the masks on you. No, I must remain myself. I must be true to myself. And then what happens? Think. It's critical moment. It's about thinking forward or thinking into the future. Imagine every day we are with this amount of changes, we are like on a burning platform. We're like sitting on a frying pan, right? Because everything is just like not clear when we're jumping and things like that. So more or less, we're trying to save our. So we're trying to get off that frying pan. How? Think into the future. Because in realistic way, the past is ego, the present is humility, and the future is pride. So we know a lot about the past, but it doesn't help. The present is like that burning platform. But what we will create beyond that chaos, that would define how successful we are, how happy we are, how satisfied we are.
But the things, the books that you write, the Vision Code and this
Yeah.
book, The Beyond Chaos, and you mention a general, but they, because when you're talking about the general, he has gone through, yes,
Every,
as
every, every.
yeah,
So more or less, it's not about how number of stars. It's about how what kind of an or what's a number
the
of
training.
stars.
It is about the training also. Like he has to
You
train.
train. Yes,
But
you
but
train.
how do we tell people take time, because time is of the essence, isn't it? Because we
Well,
we
uh,
claim we claim that we
yes,
don't have time, and we don't have time to read the book, and we like, well, we're so busy because time just passes. But how can we, do we have it in us
yes,
that we can? Because not many, I'm thinking about kids, and because like Elena, she says, like, I don't know why she's complimenting you, but that's a totally different thing. No, I'm joking. She says, brilliant said,
on.
Oleg.
That's a chance when someone beautiful said something nice about me, and you're just trying to interfere. No, Hedin, it's not that my
Sorry. Yeah.
you know.
But she says, the kids never can be responsible for parents' lack of knowledge.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Agree.
We have so many ADHD kids because parents have no idea how to bring clarity to kids and expect them to figure out themselves. Solutions are in the connection of the soul to soul. That
Yes.
is what is mentioned. But what I see is that we, back in the days, because we are 29 plus, me and you.
Well, ish. Yeah.
Yes, but you are way older than me.
Well, like 29 and a half.
Yes, thank you. But then when we were growing up, a no meant no, and we were, of course, we were sad that we didn't get what we wanted. But nowadays, it is like the people have this notion of they are not allowed to say no. Instead of saying like, okay, I'm not allowing you this because if you do this, this could happen. Like they are not giving the kids solution. No, like they are not giving the kids some. Uh, I'm lacking the word. Like options, options of, if you do this, then the consequence is this.
First of all, I'm grateful to Elena
Elena.
for
Yeah.
her great point. It's actually a brilliant point.
Yeah.
Let's look at it from a different angle. First of all, think why people are shouting, why kids are crying, because they are not agreeing with the present reality, right? So, for instance, if the kid been said no, he wants a toy or he wants to waste his time on some kind of a gadget, just like, and he's been said no, they start shouting, crowding, whatever. So they're not in agreement with reality. And it's not the kid's problem, it's parents' issue that they don't want to put any effort. They don't, as Elena rightly said, they don't have any clarity to explain to kids why and for what they're restricted, right? And therefore, as I said, if parents don't have clarity, more or less, they're just simply agreeing with everything. They're breeding spoiled kids
Yeah.
who are incapable of thinking, creation, or anything like that. Because they don't need to think, they are just living on basic reflexes, grab and go. They have no capacity for the modern reality to work, whatever they will be doing. Therefore, it's parents' responsibility to bring that ability, calmness, clarity. Instead of shouting at each other, bringing that noise, and to avoid the noise, accepting everything. Oh, I want to McDonald's. Yes. I want that toy. Yes. Just like instead of saying, no, you don't need that.
But that must also be because we are, let's talk about the evolution of computers and how computers and everything was supposed to give us, like, oh, everything will become better and la la la. In my mind, it has just added some more noise because
Yes.
you have more to do, la 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 la. But and the chaos in the parents' mind and the noise, and when they get home, of course, the kid, they yearn for some love and affection, and the parents, they don't like
I
they.
would explain you the some kind of psychological mechanism behind this.
Yeah.
We all have a capacity how many reactions we could process every day. We talk about 30,000 reactions that we are normally process every day. Whatever we see, response, signals. Then we go beyond of this because of those gadgets, uh, games, and so forth. And
Mm,
it becomes addicted because, in this sense, we don't need to think. More or less, we need just to tap. Yes, 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 scroll. And it destroys our minds, it destroys our thinking. And mind is a commander, our brain is a processor. And when our mind is not in command, our brain becomes overloaded with those reactions, it becomes useless.
mhm.
And that is very dangerous.
Arvind, he has a essay of a comment. So this is only the part of it.
Ah,
This global event highlights the importance of fostering joy, well-being, and positive relationship in the workplace. It encourages employers and employees to collaborate in creating a supportive and motivating work culture, recognizing that happiness at work leads to better health, creativity, and productivity. The week serves as a reminder that a happy workplace benefits everyone and it is worth striving for all year round. Like
yeah.
this week, we are trying and as of everything, why is it that we go for a quick fix? Because yes, we focus on the importance of fostering joy, well-being, and positive relationships. Same as with chaos. We think we use a week and we are happy, we are free. How can we, like, do we have to implement this how can we say, why is it that we have to have October 10th every year, the World Mental Health Day? Shouldn't every day of the year be a World Mental Health Day?
Hedin, I would agree with you, and I would agree with Arvind because it's not one-off event. It's if we talk about 10th of October or whatever the date, it's a strong reminder. But yes, it's a daily effort, and which must be supported. It must be not just supported emotionally or on social media. It must be supported with tools which people could get and apply in their circumstances. It's always effort. It's always an achievement.
Yeah.
You know.
So because we have only 15 minutes, like time flies when you're having fun, Oleg. And our discussion
I
always
was
go.
pitching whiskey at the beginning, and you said no. Otherwise, we can continue the conversation quite for a long, long while.
Yeah. But do you, if you think about noise, fear, and uncertainty, when people, why is it that we are afraid of working with ourselves? Why are we afraid of going inside and say, why am I reacting to this? Why am I not happy? Or why am I reacting in this measure to this news? Okay, people, if like there is one golden rule I have, it's only I watch news once a day, and then I don't care for the rest because, and often we just watch the resume, like what they're going to talk about, and then we silence it.
You see, because I'm older than you by about half a year,
Half a
right?
year, yes.
Yeah, I'm not watching news at all.
Oh, okay.
So when you would mature by this half a year, you probably
Yes,
would
yes.
stop watching it.
Yeah, okay.
Because they wouldn't say me anything new. They will
Yeah.
be they because social media, those magazines, TV, all that kind of media, cybersecurity guys, social platforms. They're all the noise producers. They're interested in creating chaos because they think, "Oh, you see, it's chaos, and we're helping you to live through it." But the question is not about this. It's nothing. It's been thrown at us all the time. It's not about how much. It's how much we're losing ourselves. But your question was very critical. Why we're afraid to look inside of ourselves? I don't know why and how this happened. I have no idea. I have assumptions or my opinion, but opinion was nothing if it's
If you don't have any substance
yeah.
behind it, yeah.
We're very good at blaming others and all the external factors why we're failing.
Yeah.
You understand me? And when you dig into yourself, you could suddenly end up in understanding that I failed because of myself. And one of the lessons I have learned from one of my captains, when your ship is in distress, you must think, is it you is in distress or your ship is in distress? Of course, when the captain is panicking, he believes that the ship is in distress. Or um, I'm failing because of others. Even, I chatted to the priests from different confessions, those who, uh, nominations like Catholics, Orthodox, just like, who are listening to those parishioners' confessions. The most common thing, people are coming to blame their friends and neighbors.
And
They're
parents.
not confessing about own sins. They're confessing about someone else's fault.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm doing something wrong, not because I'm wrong, but because other people wrong. And so more or less, what happens? We are facing that situation.
So, in order to finish, because this book is brilliant, it is just brilliant because you read one chapter and your mind just starts like it's like a factory. You can hear how the wheels of the machines they just start like clunk 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 clunk, and you start thinking. So let's give ourselves time because the question is still out there. What do you suggest people to do these days to get out of the chaos? Because of course you have. I have here the contents of your book, but it is, and as you mentioned, it's not something that you do in a half an hour or 1 day or 3 days. Like you have to be
Look,
persistent.
you put a lot of effort to get yourself into that chaos,
Yeah,
and you can't get out in half an hour. So it demands a bit of effort, right?
yeah,
Great question, not very easy to answer. Well, you could read the book Beyond
yeah.
Chaos. I have a program, Visionary Clarity certification program. Actually, it's not just to become a coach, it's just about helping yourself as well. So you could look and find it on my website, olegkonovalov.com, and it's Visionary Clarity coaching program. So at least, and on my website,
Uh-oh.
some kind of a running line. Thank you.
Well, yes, it is nice, but
Yeah.
yes. So you have this website. You have the visionary.
Connect with me on LinkedIn, but something, it's difficult to answer. Okay, this is a process. It, what I could say, if you're serious about this, you could get out of chaos in a matter of, I wouldn't say a couple of days, but in a very short while, right? And you could immediately get to the next level. And this is fairly powerful. And it's about understanding where you want to be.
Yeah, I was just thinking while you were talking, like start the easy ways. Well, I would do quote like
Yeah,
situations like the easy way. When you get this sense of fear or like you are in uncertainty or something, sit down and extract. Why am I reacting to this in this way? Why is it that like you have to start somewhere and you have to figure out, is this noise? Is this reality? Like what is it that is
exactly.
doing this to
Feeding
me?
us with information. Specifically with this, uh, these days, you go on a social media and you could see a lot of posts which are produced by AI
Yeah,
with fancy pictures, with fancy text, and I could sense it. It's not someone human wrote this text. It's artificially created text, and it's piled with different fakes, different
yeah.
wrong facts, and people believe in it because it's easy to consume, easy to digest. Therefore, what I am consuming, what kind of noise? And think for a moment. We talk about happiness. One of the critical elements of happiness is ability to say to each other, "I love you," right? And therefore, it's when you're consuming that noise, you have no chance to hear those three words, "I love you," within that noise because you're consuming noise. Therefore, separate it. Just get yourself out of it.
So yeah. So but you have like, of course, I can't like recommend this book more highly than I have done, and
Well,
people.
even that you have got this book being in Iceland, it's already blessing. Thank you.
Yeah, but because it is, I love this like naming the monster and how chaos is the liar that tricks one's.
Yeah,
Is a sentence here. Chaos is a liar that tricks one's brain into not looking ahead, and what it does, it makes you afraid of going further, having a vision, or like why is it that you are living in this moment instead of, no one said life would be easy.
so more or less, enjoy your frying pan.
Yeah. So any last comment, like if people have something like throw it at us because we only have 4 minutes. And is there anything you want to say, Oleg? Because this, I have to say, I always enjoy talking to you because, and especially when you say, I have a little, like when you say something about a tiny question or something, I know it's just going to like melt my brain because, oh, it means that I have to think. And I come like this book does that to you. You start to think. You start to think about why. What is this chaos in my mind? Why am I like? It's as I say, the brain factory starts to work on why. What is happening? Okay, yeah. Why do I have this? This is an old monster. I have to do something about that.
Chaos takes away your agency over your own life. So it leaves you powerless, right? You are not anymore someone who is in control, who has a power over life. In this sense, I always thinking I came from a business background. So therefore, my simple question immediately: what's the price do you pay for being in chaos? And then think how much you're prepared to have clarity and so be free and regaining that agency over your life. Think of this. And then you will decide, hey, I'm paying too much to that monster, therefore I will do my best and I will read the book, I will find a solution, so I will do something. If people think, no, no, I'm comfortable, I will keep feeding this monster, that's okay. I can't help that.
And Jackie, she gets the final comment today. She says, "Thank you so much, Dr. Oleg. So glad Fayad has introduced me to you. Thank you for the opportunity to be part of this. Your
Thank you,
talk
Jack.
was deeply informative and brought clarity and confirmed many principles I live by. I'm looking forward to many more exchanges of this depth." So I and well, okay, Rupali, she gets the final like thumbs up.
Cool.
But and I urge people to check your website, like olegkonovalov.com. You can find I set your visionary leadership coaching brilliant, and I think Beyond Chaos will be equally brilliant. We can keep on discussing this on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, wherever. I just have to say I love our friendship. I love you because how these 5 years, it's funny how COVID, because we met during
Yeah.
COVID online, we have still yet to meet like physics, like we tried, but it didn't happen. So, but it is this just the trust and how something happens and it just gives you the path and it just feels so right. Like when you are looking at this stuff, like you are, and that is you are so impactful when like and that is this like you because you all of a sudden you have something. Yes, okay, yeah. Like then you say yao yao as we Icelanders
Yeah,
do.
yeah,
Yao yao. Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Oh,
Uh, so I just thank you so much, and I truly believe that when you go beyond the chaos and when you have clarity in your life, then you also will be happier, and life will be so much easy if you are not distracted by the noise which is around you. So just thank you. Thank you for being my friend. And
thank
as you said, I have no problem in saying I love you. So thank you very much.
you. Héðinn, I love you, man. Bless, bless, bless.
Bless.